vibe. Come let we lime, come let we vibe. Lime vibe. Oh, lime vibe.
So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome again to another Lime Vibe conversation. And today we have the Honorable Dr. Keith Mitchell from Grenada, the former Prime Minister of Grenada. How are you, Dr. Mitchell?
I'm doing fine. We have a beautiful, shiny day here in Grenada, so enjoying it.
Yes. Thank you for joining us today, Dr. Mitchell. I'm glad that the Hurricane Brett passed by Grenada. Didn't hit Grenada at all.
Yes, we had enough already.
Yes, sir. So let's get straight into it, Dr. Mitchell. Okay, everyone knows about Dr. Keith Mitchell, all right? Everyone knows you are one of the most senior statespersons in the Caribbean. And you've been one of the longest serving prime ministers in the Caribbean, haven't you?
Yes, 23 years.
23 years, yes. Yes, indeed. But now you've been replaced by Mr. Dickon Mitchell, who won the last general election, and you're essentially now the leader of the opposition. So tell me, what is your take? Well, first of all, tell me how you feel about being in opposition again.
Oh, well, as I've said to people, this is not the first time I've been in opposition. I've been prime minister before and was out in 2008. And again, so this time it's the second time, therefore. I know the role well. I've seen others in opposition and I've been as prime minister. So it is not anything new. And when you are in a competitive system, then you know that you're expecting sometimes to win and sometimes you may lose.
Yes.
And you have to be a good winner, you also have to demonstrate that you're a good loser.
Yes.
And we have played our role as opposition and as loser and doing what we have in a way that the population can see that our interest is not in positions, but in interest in what is best for the country. That's our position.
Yes. So let me ask you a question. What is your immediate take on the Dickon Mitchell administration? What's your first take on him in his first year in office?
Well, first of all, I think it's clearly it's green, very green, and inexperience. I suppose that based on the history of the members, one would know that no one in there had any history of governmental leadership and positions before, and therefore one expected to see some difficulties and some issues in the initial stages, but I must say that we are a bit surprised at the extent of what appears to be the incompetence.
Oh, wow.
The lack of knowledge, the tendency to want to get back at people instead of using the opportunity to build and to bring people together. It's an attempt to victimize, to hurt, and to what I perceive to be, unfortunately, divide a country. For you to have, from the official words, they call it restorative justice. What does that mean? And we've seen it being practiced. But if they had any experience in government, they will know such a policy, the demise for destruction in government and for serious political backlash whenever the people get an opportunity in the future. So that if anyone in there or a few of them had any experience in government, I believe that they would have understood. We understood this, that when you have an opportunity on leadership, you have to use it positively. I'm not saying that in some cases you may make mistakes, and that's expected. But to take official position and to be seen consistently as going after people, removing people from jobs, harassing people, and bringing them before a public service commission that is defined almost like partisan. And for nothing at all, just because they perceive to be have supported the opposition party.
Yes.
In addition, the destruction inside the public service. I mean, I don't think they clearly understand the serious damage that they're doing to themselves and the country. Because systems that were put in place to ensure that you have proper management and, of course, position of ascendancy within the public service have been undermined, and people are just promoted or demoted based on the perception of their political position. And anytime you operate like that, you will destroy the system.
Yes.
Similarly, in the police force, security, and that is a very serious one. I'm sure you're hearing about all the issues of crime in the country now. We have a murder rate that is over 100% in half of the year as it was compared to last year. Now, this demonstrates and a lot of other incidents of criminal activity in the country. And in the face of this, you have a police force that is demoralized because of the politics of restorative justice. Anyone that is perceived to be having some friend that is in NNP, which is quite crazy, is dealt an uneven hand.
Yes.
And to me, that's a medicine for destruction. If you want to feel politically, if I was advising them to damage themselves and to help the NNP, I would have been doing an excellent job if they followed the advice, what they're doing.
Yes.
If I had given to them. They're doing a very good job.
Yes.
If we are thinking of politics only, my friend, if we are thinking about politics, I would be laughing, honestly, because I think, and I could feel the temperature on the ground wherever we go. You hear nonsense about they are popular. I would like to see anyone who doing any serious scientific result tell me about this government popularity. It's a small society. You just walk the street and you know when things looking good for you politically, and you know when it's bad politically. Because after 40 years in politics, I have a good idea of a political temperature in a country. So how they are dealing with the police force is far even more serious. It is very serious in the public service because you're talking about services to the people. When you undermine that, you're undermining your ability to provide service properly, which will of course affect you politically one way or the other.
Yes.
But when you undermine the police force and you demoralize the police force, you're affecting the security of the country, which is a far more significant impact on the country's stability and order. So they're doing a terrible job. And I honestly heard people talking about scoring this government. I don't know how you score something that is so damaging. I used to be a professor, and I don't know if, I've never seen a student perform so badly looking for grades. It's going to be very difficult to grade such an organization.
Well, from the outside looking in, Dickon Mitchell seems to be a calm young man. He doesn't seem to be as nasty as one would expect one to be, coming from out of opposition. Does he have a firm control of his government, or is somebody else behind him pushing him to make all these decisions?
Well, maybe what you see is a face, but the action of what you see, one can talk and talk and talk and see one thing, and then what happens in action, in actual fact, is complete opposite to what you say.
Wow.
In many cases. But that's not difficult. I am not when I say this, people might think I'm being biased. But if for example, you say, you tell people that you are looking at ensuring that people are promoted based on performance, and you come into government and you're victimizing people left, right, and center and sending them home. Yes. And you are the prime minister, you're not just a minister. If you see, for example, that the people people who work for years and they say must be given permanent position. They must not be on contract. You say contract is illegal. So that's not a face. That's not a game. You said it. Not anyone said it. Saying it.
Yes.
People contract is illegal, and you're a lawyer, so you must know what means by illegality. And then you come into government and you're having more contracts than you had before. If you say the Imani were treated badly and you make them permanent, and all the Imanis are being sent home now.
Yes.
Some of them are being home, most of them, and you give them a little stipend, maybe $100, some getting $200, and so on. It's crazy stuff.
Yes.
You talk, for example, another major one. You talk about the government, the World Bank were not satisfied with the level of emolument given to the seed officers, that the poor people, the women and men who are in their late age in life and who have no basic means of support. And we have increased it over the years. And you say the 450 was definitely not enough, and the World Bank confirmed it, and I didn't disagree with them at all, and so on. And when you come, you would increase it, and you come to government and you take out $150 out of the 450. No, wow. That's not sounding nice. That is a deliberate, to me, a deliberate attempt to deceive, because you must know what you are saying. And it clearly meant that you did not believe it, but you said it because you want votes.
Wow.
You said again to the population that the public servants are not treated well, and that you will do things to improve their lot, and so on and so on. And you've seen the complete opposite. You remember the famous thing when the Prime Minister gets up in a major audience and tell the nation that the previous government was supposed to receive $290,000 from some Polish ambassador.
Yes,
and it was in a cabinet conclusion, and at the cabinet conclusion only 150. This is not a joke. This is not a nice face statement. This is a deliberate action of a man who's, to me, deliberately wanting to deceive and mislead people. And then, because you said you have the cabinet conclusion. No, I was the Prime Minister. At the period he was talking about. So in effect, he was accusing me and members of the government of stealing $140,000.
Yes.
And he must have known that was false.
Yes.
And therefore he has been called upon for a year plus now to provide a cabinet conclusion. I've asked him in Parliament, media people have asked him, number of persons in the society. Up to now, he has not even given us a reply. You know, so nobody can tell me that he appears to be a nice man. Nice in what way?
Yes.
You know, as I said to you before, one can I cannot expect that people come into government and have no experience in anything, whether it's just a sports. I mean, the first time you're going to play a cricket match and you never played before, you expect some nervousness and you expect some mistakes as they continue. But after a time, you get more relaxed and more understanding of the job. But what you're seeing this is not what you're seeing. You're seeing clearly incompetence, clearly inexperience, but you only see, in my view, a mischief in many, many cases. And to me, that is what is frightening to what is taking place in the country. The
general mischief. Wow, that's a strong term, Dr. Mitchell.
No, I am not afraid to say that. It is mischief. Well, how do you describe some of the things I told you?
Yes.
How do you describe accusing the whole cabinet of the past of stealing $140,000 and said it's a cabinet conclusion?
Yes.
The whole nation is at us wondering how the hell we can do this. And it turns out it was not true. And up to now, you won't apologize. Now, if he deliberately made a mistake, you'd expect him to come out and say, well, I'm sorry, and apologize. And people would accept it.
Yes.
Because Grenadians are very forgiving people. I know that for a fact. All of us would have been able to receive forgiveness from the population at some times in our lives. But he's not man enough to accept his mistakes and admit it. And that's a serious, to me, that's a serious flaws in leadership. You've heard other people in the past, whether it's regional, international, apologize for actions that they've taken that turns out to be not right, or statements that they made that turned out not to be right. That's happened to me, and I've wanted the nation to apologize.
In your
And
take, is he too young?
relieved. I feel relieved when I do it.
And from your take, is he too young for the position? Because he's 44, isn't he?
No. I couldn't see this. Obama was not very much younger than that when he accepted a much bigger job. When I started in government, that was among my age.
Yes.
You know, so that there's no excuse. 44 years and 40 years and so on cannot be in, because let's face it, if you go into any job, my friend, and you know you have not had experience, the first thing you do is assemble a group of people around you with some experience.
Yes.
Why do you think Obama chose Biden as his running mate? You think Biden was the most attractive candidate for a young Obama to choose? But he understood that one of the criticism would be leveled against him, and one of the weaknesses that he would have as a person is inexperience in government. So what he did was chose a man whom the population would see as his second man, who would be able to advise him appropriately on issues that he's not used to. And therefore he chose Biden. In addition to that, when he comes into government, he would assemble a team of advisors and persons around him with that level of experience. But you see the complete opposite. Complete opposite. So you cannot say it is someone else responsible. He is the one that is making those decisions. He is the one that decided the team that he wants. He is the one that is refusing to even consult people around him on serious decision making. He wants to make all the decision, and when he's wrong, he's not prepared to admit it. And that's a serious problem. So I can't blame anybody for this. He has to take full responsibility for it.
Yes. You mentioned something earlier about the police force being totally different under your administration, changing now due to all the politics. How did you leave Grenada? And compared to what you see now, how did you leave Grenada? What position did you leave Grenada in?
Well, I think it's well known. They themselves said, as you know, the man said when he came in, he opened his eye big, he said, man, he met a pregnant treasury.
Oh, wow.
You remember that? Did you remember this? Your media, right? You ought to remember this. He said that we left a lot of money. Oh, remember when we got into government in 2013, there was no money, huh?
Yes.
You know, they were selling assets every month, not 1 month. Every month they were selling land, house, buildings, and so on to pay salaries.
Yes.
So when we got in, we could not even pay salaries because we didn't have money. We had to ask friends in the region because of my regional connection. And that's how we got help. But then we got into a structural adjustment program and really managed the economy well. And over the years, we started having serious surpluses in government, so that we had a lot of jobs created, much more than they're doing now. We expanded road programs, the debushing program, the building of roads. We provided serious support to water companies so that they were able to do their work and expand water services around the country. Where government before hardly paying their electricity bill on time, we were paying ours on time. Or telephones of payments were made on time. So we are managing the country well. So the country, they admitted that they were, in effect, when you say you meet a full pregnant treasury, you are in effect saying, and then we had all of these jobs, people were much happier in the country. And I'm telling you this, I'm convinced that the government was not the reason why we lost the election. Usually it is said that the party wins election, the government loses. That you hear that story all the time. But in this time, the party won the election and the party lost the election.
Wow.
We failed on the ground in communicating our message. We were not adequately organized in the preparation for the things that we must do for an election. We have to take full responsibility. And I've always said that as leader, I cannot duck responsibility, some of the responsibility for what took place. And a lot of our candidates fell short of what they were supposed to be doing. As a candidate, I thought I did my share because my victory was one of the biggest in the election, but we failed in many, many respects. So, and therefore, if we literally gifted the government to the National Democratic Congress.
Wow, wow.
Unfortunately, we have to admit that.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
why talking about big men always would want to admit their faults.
Yes.
Is little boys and little children who,
Yes, yes.
when they're wrong, they're still denying that it's somebody else, not them.
You know something, I don't think people give you enough credit for when you came in 2013 and you met the country to near collapse. It was, I mean, the Tillman Thomas administration with Nazim Burke as the Minister for Finance, wasn't he, right? The country was in an absolute economic cardiac arrest. I mean, you brought that country back from near to nothing, Dr. Mitchell. And people don't give you enough credit for that, you know?
But my friend, not only that, when we got into government in 95, it wasn't as bad as 2013, but it was bad also. That's why the government lost. Remember, we only had one seat, literally 1.5 seat in parliament in 1990.
Yes.
And we only got 6,000 votes. Oh, there were over 50,000 votes cast. We only got 6,000.
Wow.
At that time. 5 years later, we got almost 30,000 to win elections.
Yes.
So that means the government must have performed very badly, and we would have performed well in terms of opposition politics, the role we played, to have gone from literally hardly any seats to winning 8 seats and forming government.
Yes,
and we if you check the economy compared to the 1990 to 95, compared the economy from 95 to 99, when we had to go back to the polls, the economy, we did far better economically. So what the country gave us, 15 seats.
Yes.
Remember, that was the first 15 seats.
Yes.
You know, so when people are talking, they're talking in the air. If you're going to give your people credit, you cannot say the NNP did nothing. It was so bad with the years that we spent in government, that your people, we were so bad. That means your people are so stupid and backward that they vote for us, give us all the seats in the country while we didn't perform well.
Yes.
You are literally, in fact, if you say so, you are looking down on your own population. The same population you're asking to vote for you.
Yes.
You're literally saying they're stupid and ignorant.
Yeah.
And that's why they will vote the NNP and give them all the seats and give them 23 years in government.
Yes.
That's an insult to the population, because that statement was made. Nothing was done since 1984. What a foolish statement that was being made. That is almost an insult to your population. So my point is, when we came back in 2013, it was the worst period in terms of economic performance. Yes. And we brought the country back. We didn't complain. I'll give you a simple example, my friend. I heard statements, and the government is, let me tell you what is happening to this government now. They are being perceived as a government tell lies all the time, from captain down to cook. That's I'm telling you, that is how they are being defined now. A big case, and want to blame NNP for everything. That NNP. When we came into government in 2013, in the case of health, we were involved in the OECS medical facilities, where we are buying bulk as all the countries, because you get medicine cheaper if you buy in bulk. So we have the OECS organization. We buy through that system. So we pay through that system, and we get cheaper medicine from the international community. But the NDC government had over $7 million to the organization.
Wow.
No, we didn't spend a lot of time cursing the NDC. We did make the point, but we didn't spend any time. Black people forgot. I believe even some members of the NDC seem to have forgotten when they start complaining that they came in and they met a bill of $2 million. Well, if you're supposed to be receiving medication and then you pay, then you must owe some time. Yes. But we didn't owe $7 million. And the point I really want to make, when we came in and they owed $7 million, they had a debt of $7 million. We had no money in the treasury. Yet we didn't complain. We found a way to deal with the system by management and cooperation with the original OECS heads. But when they now came in, they say, I don't even know what they're saying is true, because they're telling so much that I can't even believe. That may not necessarily be so, but even if it was 2 million, but you make money, you said the treasury was fat. You were able to pay enormous amount to people for pension, over $75 million. You mean you cannot hold back a couple million and pay for life-saving medication with the money that you had? So clearly, what I'm saying in effect, the government is hurting itself with the population. I know for a fact they've lost a lot of support among people who voted for them and felt they should get a chance, because people felt there are a number of factors, my friend. One, as I said before, people felt we were there too long. People felt that I was Prime Minister, Mitchell, time for him to go. You know, want a new man. That's life, eh?
Yes.
In cricket, in football, in business, people, man, you're there too long. Give somebody else a chance, man. Give a young man a chance. As if it's a bingo or something, you know. So I could understand that. There also was a perception that we want two successive 15 seats, no opposition. Give them, we want an opposition. You know, there were a number of things at play, and then there was a complacency by winning a lot. A lot of our members, including maybe myself, were complacent and believing that we could win without doing the necessary amount of work. And I think a combination of all of the above was responsible for the NDC victory.
Yeah, what a shock, what a shock. I think the entire region was shocked that you were replaced. I mean, so
That's a fact.
Yeah, because the election before, you took Nazim Burke to the cleaners. You had his number.
We took Tillman, we took the one before, we took Tillman, and then we took Nazim, both of them 15 seats straight.
Yeah.
So
Paul
you have to understand what the dynamism of politics at the time. And we, as I said, the number one person to be blamed for this is the new National Party itself.
Yes. But speaking of that, though, speaking about your performance in the last administration and during the last election, do you consider yourself retiring from politics anytime soon? Or are you going to give it another, 10, 15 years if you got it?
10, 15 years.
You look young and sprightly. You look like you've gone for a while.
I would love to be living in the next 10, 15 years. We're thinking of leadership. My view of this, as I said to people over and over, and the NMP does not have a leadership issue. We have a leader in place now, so no one is serious is talking about just leadership. What the party has to do is to organize itself properly and correct the mistakes of the past. And of course, if there is to be a leadership change, then that will certainly happen.
Yes.
And that will have my total blessing as long as that is acceptable by the people of the country. So it's not about me. You know, as I said to people, what more do I want? After people give you their mandate 23 years, how many persons in their life, my brother, have been given the confidence of the entire population to lead them in 23 years?
Yes.
And and I'm out of office and no one is cussing me in the street. Nobody's back talking me except the government does try to blame me for everything. And that's expected. That's politics.
Yes.
But when you walk the streets, you go anywhere and you get lots of love and affection. People remind you of all the things that you have done. So I don't have any regrets in terms of the where we are right now. I mean, I certainly would have loved to win the elections and then retire then. This has changed the entire dynamics about where we are. So the party has to correct its mistake, reorganize itself. And then anything else about that we need to do, then it will be done according to the policy and programs. And that's the position, by the way, that's not my position alone. This is the position of the new National Party.
Gotcha.
Some people would like it to say Keith Mitchell not wanting to give up yet, and Keith Mitchell not wanting a convention.
You said something just then, Dr. Mitchell. You said that if you had won again, you would have retired midterm. Is that correct?
I made that commitment. I said so. I did say that that I would pave the way for by sometime certainly before midterm. Because I don't think the new leader should be given just 1 year to get his act together. I think the population should get a good chance to see him while I'm still around, being able to provide the necessary support. Because let's face it, with my experience and the fact that even people that do not like Keith Mitchell will not vote for me, do respect the fact that I've had a lot of experience, and they certainly would like to see that experience put in the interest of the country. So clearly, I think that's what they would have loved to see. But life is what it is. You don't always get what you wish. You have to accept. You have to accept what you get and work with it. And this is where that's why I'm comfortable where I am.
So speaking of the shift now from you going to somebody else, and what could possibly take place and how things need to change inside an NNP, are you seeing things change in the regional and the global political landscape, where you're seeing things happening where the current administration needs to pay more attention to? Do you see any headwinds down the road for Grenada right now that they have to really pay attention to?
Well, let me see this. For one, you have an unstable global climate. That war in Europe is certainly having tremendous impact on cost of living worldwide, right? And therefore it is having a serious problem. As you know, when the big country sneeze, we catch pneumonia. So we know that. So if Britain is experiencing the United States, Germany, serious problems with cost of living, you'd expect us to be in serious shape. Therefore, I think that the problem is the government is not understanding this, because nothing has been done to protect the vulnerable in the society in a time of high cost of living, when food prices are astronomical in every respect. And of course, the creation of job opportunities to help the poor man to survive in a difficult time. Nothing has been done. In fact, if anything else, the poor man has been seemed to be singled out for a lot of anti-government activities. As far as we see it, the decision on the vulnerable with the seed program is a clear example. They're sending home the money. These are poor people, children. You wouldn't see a son of mine, for example, or a daughter of mine, if I had one, go look into being the money, because we'll be able to provide for them. So the people in the money are usually generally poor people, children. Look, they've been victimized and sent home and literally left to do nothing. And similarly, we used to have a debushing program where thousands of people have been employed on the road, ordinary folks. At this time of the year, you see the roads have been cleaned with these people, and someone's being more farmers who come and do a task in the morning and go back on the farm during the day. A fisherman does his work. These are poor people. Yes. And the more money they have is more. Why do you think they seriously, the economy in the country seems dead? Once you walk the streets in the country and you move around, you see hardly anything being done, simply because the poor people has no money.
Yes.
A lot of money was given to pensioners, and rightly, those who deserve it should receive it. But at the same time, they are not the only ones in the country that have to survive. And my feeling is whatever resources have must be shared. Yes. With all and sundry, particularly those who need the help the most. I always say to people, government has to take care of all of us. Everybody must get an opportunity, right? That's the role of government. But government must have a special focus on those who need government the most.
Yes.
That is fundamentally basic. And anytime you fail to do that, you're not operating any serious government.
Yeah, gotcha, understood. Well, Dr. Mitchell, thank you so much for joining me today with this podcast. And any final thoughts you have about Grenada moving forward?
No, I'm hopeful, because I think people are beginning, and we are presenting ideas. We'll be having a press conference on Tuesday with 3 senior members of government to put in perspective the first year or first year in opposition. We are not talking the first year of the government. We're talking about the first year in opposition.
Yes.
And looking at what is taking place in the country, and looking at the issues and presenting ideas and proposals that we believe, if the government adopt, can help to deal with some of those things. Because we believe it's not just good just to talk about things and criticize, but also to provide some ideas, some vision, and some hope for the future of this country. And that is precisely what we will be doing going forward. Yes, so my friend, that would be my final thoughts. So thank you for this, and to see we'll continue to do more of this, and I'm sure other members, I'll encourage other members to join your podcast
Yes.
as you move along. And we deeply appreciate this initial opportunity and look forward. And all the best in the future, my brother.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mitchell. I really appreciate you spending time with me this afternoon. You're my first big time guest, and this is a very special occasion right now.
You'll get
So
more. You'll get more. We'll get more of this.
Yes, sir.
We'll
Thank you
get
so much.
more of this. Thank you, my brother. Take care.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Good.
Thank you.
Good.